Hello, 6th grade. In this video, we're going to review how you add and subtract decimals. So the key to adding and subtracting decimals is lining up the decimal points. Okay, you must line up your decimal points before you go to add and subtract decimals. And then once you do that, you add or subtract digits in the same place value position. So when we go to add or subtract and also multiply and divide decimals, I'm going to provide you with grids so that you can practice lining up your place values one on top of the other. And that's going to allow you to not only keep your work organized, but also hopefully not get the incorrect answer because you lined something up in the wrong place. So here in example 1, we're going to take 58.1 and subtract 56.73. And so again, the first step is to line up our decimal points. So we'll start with 58.1. And then I'm going to, again, subtract from that 56.73. So notice I'm going to put my decimal points one on top of the other. And so 56.73 would go right here, and we're going to subtract. Okay, so now step 2 is we're going to add 0 so that both numbers have the same number of decimal places. Well, we notice 56.73 has a tenths and a hundredths position. 58.1 only has a tenths position. This box here is empty, so I'm going to add a 0 here. 58.1 is the same as 58.10. And now I'm going to subtract like I normally would. So in my answer, my decimal point will go right here. 0 minus 3 we can't do, so we need to borrow from this 1 and make this 10 minus 3. 10 minus 3 is 7. And then we have 0 minus 7, which we also can't do, so we'll borrow from the 8 and make this 10 minus 7, which is 3. So we get a 0.37 in our answer. Moving on to the units position, 7 minus 6 we know is 1, and 5 minus 5 is 0, which we really don't need here. Our answer, it becomes 1.37. And if you're using your estimating skills like we did in the previous video, that makes sense. 1.37 is pretty close to 1, also pretty close to 2. If I took 58 minus 56, I would get 2. So this is a reasonable answer for this problem. Okay, so a few examples of addition and subtraction with decimals that we're going to practice here. Number 2, we have 54.7 plus 21.4. So I'm going to, again, line up my decimal points. So 54.7 will go here, and there's the decimal point on my next number. 21.4 will go here, and we're adding this time. The decimal point will come straight down in our answer. 7 plus 4 is 11, so I'll put a 1 down here, and I'll carry a 1 to the next unit, to the next place position. 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6, and 5 plus 2 is 7. So we get an answer here of 76.1. Number 3, another subtraction problem. I have 9.534. And from that, I'm going to subtract 3.671. So here's the decimal point in my answer. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 7, well, we can't do that, so we need to borrow from our 5 and make this 13 minus 7, which is 6. I need to borrow again from my 9 so that I can do 14 minus 6, which is 8, and 8 minus 3 is 5. So I get an answer of 5.683. Again, using my estimation skills, I know 5.863 is close to 6, and our original problem, 9 minus 3, would have given us approximately 6, so this makes sense as an answer. When you're doing decimal operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, it's always a good idea to estimate your answer and see if your final answer makes sense at the end. Okay, number 4, 14.1 minus 9.09. So I've lined up my decimal points. I need to add a 0 in the hundredths position of 14.1. And I'll bring down the decimal point in my answer. And here we go. I need to borrow from the 1 here so that I can do 10 minus 9, which is 1. 0 minus 0 is just 0, so I get a 0.01 in my answer. 4 minus 9 I can't do, so I need to borrow to make this a 14 minus 9, which is 5. So I get an answer here of 5.01. Okay, number 5, we have the whole number 23 minus the decimal 4.216. So 23 goes here, and then notice that there is no decimal point written in 23. We need to remember that the decimal point is actually to the right of the 3, to the right of the units place. So here's 23, and there's the decimal. I'm going to line up, again, the decimal point on 4.216, and so it will go here. So now I need to add in 3 zeros for my tenths, hundredths, and thousandths position on 23, and that way I can subtract using some borrowing here from my 3. So I'm going to borrow from the 3 to make this 0 a 10. I'll need to borrow now from that 10, make this a 9, and give the 1 here, and then borrow one more time so that I can do 10 minus 6 in the thousandths position. So I get a 4 here. 9 minus 1 is 8, and then 9 minus 2 is 7, so we get a 0.784. We'll borrow from the 2 in the hundred spot, and do 12 minus 4 is 8, so 8 in the units place, and then bring down this 1 in my, sorry, not my hundreds, this is my 10 spot, So I end up getting 18.784 for my answer. Okay, last example, number 6. 2 minus 1.784. Again, 2 doesn't have the decimal point written in, but remember it's hiding here to the right of the 2 because it's a whole number. And we're subtracting 1.784. So again, I'll add in my 3 zeros to the right of 2's decimal point. And once again, I'll do some borrowing. So 10 minus 4, we have 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So we actually get the decimal 0.216 or just 0.216. So when the decimal is less than 1, you don't have to put the 0 to the left of the decimal point, but you can. Either one of these would be okay for your answer. Alright, if there were any questions over this video you had, make sure you jotted those down on your note sheet so you can ask that the next time we see you in class. And until then, have a nice day. You are all wonderful people.